Hello, everyone. This is Z. Welcome to another podcast episode. And today I have another special guest with me from very well known progressive metal rock band Haken, Mr. Charlie Griffiths. He is coming up with some his new music. And Charlie, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. And you've been busy touring with Haken quite a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
And what's up these days with you?
Yeah, like as you say, we just really come to the end of we're coming to the end of the fauna kind of we've called it an expedition, right,
Yeah.
right the tour kind of thing. So we've hit like the States, Europe, South America, Asia, and in a couple of months we're going to go back to South America
Hmm.
for um a festival. I'm just trying to think of the name.
Yeah, too many gigs to
Yeah.
remember,
And
right?
then like
Which is good.
5 shows in South America and Mexico. And that'll be the end of like the whole fauna expedition kind of thing.
Mhm. And you guys took the Fauna tour to the very next level, right? You were like doing headline shows and evening with shows, right?
Yeah. So yeah, we played the whole album front to back.
Hmm.
That's how
Yeah.
we started the show. And then we played an epic, I think what was it? Crystallized, which is like a
Hmm.
almost 30-minute epic.
Yeah.
Then we had like a 20-minute intermission. And then we did like another half of like older
Hmm.
stuff and finished with visions. And yeah, naturally um, f- the show was filmed in
Hmm.
London.
Okay.
That's going to be released as a Blu-ray soon. So
Oh,
that's
yeah, that's looking forward to it. So what's up with your solo project? Uh,
yeah. So like yeah, in between all that, whenever I had time, um, I've been working on like metal riffs and
yeah, I saw, and I have your first record. It's from
yeah.
Tiktaalika,
Thank you.
and this is
Well said. Well said.
yeah, it's a the first record was really focused on progressive style, in my opinion. What I got the feel, and this time I think you're changing your style a little bit. So what's
Yeah,
this about?
I guess the first one was more like yeah, kind of leaning. Yeah, I didn't really have like a kind of end goal with it really. It was just like see what happens. It was during the pandemic and all that, and
Hmm.
it just kind of materialized itself. So there's kind of influences from there's some like metal stuff in there. There's progressive stuff and like tech metal. Um, some kind of like King Crimson-y bits
Hmm.
and pieces in there. Um, but yeah, which was fun to do. But this time around, yeah, I thought I had more of a plan. Like let's make a metal album, like the albums I grew up on, kind of thing. Using those as a kind of framework.
Yeah, and I get the feel from your first single, which is called Gods of Pangea.
Yeah,
And pretty cool name. I mean, it sounds really evil and
yeah,
old school
exactly.
metal, right?
Yeah,
And the artwork. And I mean, to tribute you, I'm wearing this Megadeth T-shirt as well because it has some vibe to it. Old trash and all. Old school
definitely
metal.
that was those were my formative years. When I was like a teenager in the early 90s and like listening to like Rust in Peace when it came out.
Yeah.
Um, Spiritual Healing by
Hmm.
Death and like what was that kind of 90 to 93 little window
Hmm.
is yeah that's kind of what I was leaning on that kind of feeling for this record and it goes back like the artwork like the Megadeth artwork
Yeah.
all that classic stuff was done by Ed Repka. He's
Hmm.
like sort of one of the most famous names in metal album covers.
Hmm.
um So luckily, a good friend of mine, Dan Goldsworthy, who did the artwork on the first
Hmm.
Tiktaalika, and then he did the Fauna artwork. Um, his usual style is that kind of Ed Repka.
Uh-huh.
We kind of jokingly refer to him as Ed Replica. He can really nail that style, right? So yeah, I went to him for this one. I was like, I want this album to look like imagine you're at a record store going through the vinyl, and then you come across this Gods of Pangea,
Yeah.
and just like you have, in my mind, if the person thinks, oh, when in 1991 did this come out? I missed it.
Yeah.
So that was the idea. So you'd pick it up and think it was like an old record you'd
Old
missed.
record, yeah. I mean, this definitely gives a feel and vibe, and the music video you release is pretty cool. That you are doing a coloring and all
Yeah,
fun riffs. It's a long song. It has catchy hooks, catchy
yeah.
melodic guitar lines which repeats. So I think yeah.
Thanks.
So tell me about like how much time it took you to write this record, or like you had ideas collected over the years, and like how the writing process was.
I mean, everything was done over. I think it was like even like 2 summers ago or something like that. I just had this kind of intensive. I mean, I just had like a good chunk of time where I didn't have Haken
Hmm.
stuff to kind of practice or anything like that. So I spent I think it was like a couple of summers ago. I just came up with all the riffs and just like wrote the songs like instrumentally, just and keeping it very simple in terms of just like having a guitar riff and a drum, like
Hmm.
programmed drums kind of thing. So I just basically like kept it to the minimum like that, like two
Hmm.
things happening, drums and guitar riff.
It's,
And I wrote the whole album like that. Um, just start to finish, how I thought it would flow and like, it starts
mm,
off like you say, like this, the second song is like this the long title track kind of
yeah.
thing. It's like, it has if you like Master of Puppets or Ride the Lightning,
Yeah.
that's
The idea.
how it goes, right? The second song is the long title track. And then the first song is like a fast, thrashy, like 4 minute song
Hmm.
kind of thing. So like, these are the kind of things I was thinking of and mapped out the whole album.
Hmm.
And so I had that done for a long time, just the music. And then,
Hmm.
you know, um, things got busy again with Haken. You have to kind of, when Haken's like got a tour happening, you have to really focus on it
Yeah.
to make sure you can play everything. And like, I have to like pretty much every tour, I have to relearn everything
Yeah.
and practice it day and night. So the solo thing goes on the back burner for that. And then I think it was just like, like this summer just gone. So like a good while later,
Mm.
I had a bit more time. So then I got the songs back up and then I wrote all the lyrics.
Mm.
So it was kind of in 2 chunks. I did the music a while ago, and then the next chunk was just all the lyrics and
Yeah.
vocal demos kind of thing.
Hmm. Okay. And then you kept the same team almost from the first record, like the vocals. Tell me what different musicians are involved on this record.
Yeah, so it's Darby Todd is on drums. He
Mm-hmm.
was on the first record.
Mm-hmm.
He plays with Devin now a lot, and he's I think the first Tiktaalika was his first metal record he'd ever recorded.
Okay.
And now he's doing like,
All over. Yeah, I think he did with Jordan as well. Jordan
yeah,
wrote
yeah,
faster.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I had to
Is
have
he
him.
based in UK, right? Is he
Yeah,
based?
he's very close to me
Oh,
in
okay.
South London. Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So he's on drums, and then this time I had Connor from
Mm.
Haken on bass, um, which he did a magnificent job on. Um, like adding his own lines really to it. I,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want someone to like follow the guitar riffs exactly all the time.
Mm.
I wanted a more kind of like Cliff Burton-y
Mm.
kind of thing where the
It's its own thing, right?
bass is doing its own lines and sometimes playing the riff and sometimes doing a variation on the riff. And
Mm.
what it was, like when I was like trying to decide who to have on the record.
Mm.
Around that time, like Connor showed me like he had transcribed Master of Puppets,
Okay.
the whole album, like on bass,
Okay.
just for his own research, kind of thing. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's kind of interesting. All right. So he's like now he's got that kind of Cliff Burton
Mindset
mindset.
there.
Yeah. So like then I asked him to, would he kind of apply that mindset to this album? And yeah, and so it was great. Turned out great.
Yeah. And you have Tommy from Between the Buried. Uh,
Yeah, Tommy's back.
mm,
And he's I've got another single like coming out next month,
mm,
which is the one with Tommy singing.
mhm,
It's called Lost Continent, and it's actually the longest song.
mhm.
You thought Gods of Pangaea was long. This one's 9 minutes. Like
I mean,
it's like
that's real metal, right? You sit down and listen to the music, you know.
yeah, yeah. It's
It's
a
not like supposed to be, bits and pieces, you know. You have to
yeah. I mean there
fit.
are shorter songs. Like most of the other songs are like 4 or 5 minutes.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, for whatever reason, the label wanted to put the two longest songs out first. You
So,
know,
so you have a good label, I think,
yeah, yeah,
for metal. And who else is involved? I think you have four vocalists on the record, right?
yeah. So I've got Tommy. I've got Daniel De Jong.
Mm.
He's on 3 tracks. He's the vocalist in Textures.
Hmm.
He's got this amazing kind of soulful bluesy way of singing, which really suits that kind of um, the more kind of hooky Metallica-esque
Hmm.
kind of songs on the album. But he can also do the aggressive screaming when
Hmm.
he needs. Then I've got Vladimir Lalish.
Hmm.
He's based in London now, and he was on the first album. And he's got this kind of awesome, kind of reminds me like he's got some Freddie Mercury in his voice. He's got some Warrell Dane
Hmm.
kind of thing going on, um, and yeah. So he's on 2 tracks, and he kind of brings this kind of more sort of theatrical kind of vibe, which one of the tracks he's on called Mesozoic Mantras
Hmm.
was like a kind of supposed to be a kind of tribute almost to Merciful Fate, King
Hmm.
Diamond, that kind
King.
of thing. So like I've got Vladimir, he kind of brings that kind of almost musical theater kind of uh,
Yeah, that
dramatic
sounds.
kind of
Yeah, I
thing.
mean, I'm looking at the song titles, and, and every song title like looks like a story in it. It
Yeah,
has a theme or something, connected to it, and
definitely.
very old school vibe, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
And then finally we got Rhodey Walker,
Mm.
a song called Fault Lines,
Hmm.
and that's going to be the third single, right?
Okay.
And
So when the album is coming out?
March 14th.
March 14th.
Yeah,
And Inside Out is your label.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. Uh, so what was the recording process for this record? Like how uh, let's talk about your guitar recording. You have a bunch of amps behind you.
Yeah.
So what's your main recording process when it comes to the guitar, and then we'll talk about other guys.
So I do everything. I record everything first as just a DI track.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just plugged straight into my interface, and I
Mm-hmm.
kind of I use like plugins, like usually the Neural
Mm-hmm.
DSP stuff, and I try and dial in like I was using the Mark II C plus plugin
Sound.
to kind
Okay.
of get approximately the thrash sound I was going for, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I do it like that, just so now I've just got the DI, then I can decide later or 'cause
Mm.
I knew Nolly was going to be mixing, so it's
Okay.
like to give him the option too of like reamping.
And Nolly did your first record mixed as well, right? He
Yeah,
mixed the first record.
mix
Okay.
that one. You mix
So,
this one. So
yeah, I
yeah,
mean, the mixes sounds
record
awesome.
record everything in the DIs. Then I basically reamped everything like just here using I've got the JP2C
Mm-hmm.
back here, which is I use for the main most of everything, the main
Mm-hmm.
riffs, the clean tones, and then I've got a modded JCM 800
Mm.
by a guy in the UK called Dan Gower
Dan Gower, yeah.
mods those to make them, give them more gain and just more control.
Mm.
And so yeah, that ended up being like the lead
Lead
guitar
lead guitar,
stuff. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So,
And then Connor's at home,
yeah.
just doing the
Uh,
same thing.
and Darby, I think he has his own studio setup as well.
Oh, yeah, Darby's got his own studio, and like, and he. The good thing is like he works quick, so
Mm-hmm.
he'll do a song a day, kind of thing. So there's we recorded 8 songs. One of them is an instrumental, which only appears on the CD, like a bonus track on the
Bonus track.
CD and streaming.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 8 songs in total. He did like one a day, like really quick. And then yeah, so once we had the drums, then we could start doing like the other instruments, and then you know everything's done over email with the vocalists because they're all
Uh,
over the place.
yeah, that's the way modern records are made, right?
Yeah,
So what's the guitars you have used for this record specifically?
I used the Strandberg. Um, I've got this Strandberg 6 string.
Mm-hmm.
Um, pretty much for everything. I've got like an ESP uh, and it's got like the headset in there.
Mm-hmm.
I use that for some stuff. I've got a Gibson Flying V on there,
Mm-hmm.
just for things, little bits here and there, just for when you want a different sound. But it's mainly Strandberg guitars on there,
Guitar, okay.
and yeah, and it's
Uh,
all 6 string stuff, like in E standard.
so everything is the standard. Yeah, that's what about I was about to ask. Like, did you experiment with different tunings or not?
Well, the first, well, I say it's all. I tried to keep it all E standard except for one song, which is Drop D,
Mm-hmm.
like the third track,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a slow, sludgy kind of riff.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a slow kind of feel, so I put that in D. Right. Like a
Me.
sort of sad but true
Okay.
kind of thing. You've got,
There's
yeah.
so do you use any pedals or any things with when you like record guitars, or you just try to keep it straight?
No, well, I mean, with the boogie, you don't need any boost
Hmm.
pedal or anything like that. And the Marshall modded the mod is basically doing what a boost pedal would do. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't need it. But yeah, but all kind of effects and all that stuff is added in the mix. So that
Hmm.
when I give the guitars to Nolly, they're all bone dry,
Uh-huh.
like nothing on, just the recorded tone. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So have you like experiment with different technique or something that you explore when you were writing this record, or something that you haven't done before? I mean that one of this is like you went for this metal sound, old school metal sound. But
yeah.
anything else during that process you explored? Oh, this is cool. I haven't done this before or something.
As far as techniques, not. I mean, I don't think so. I think it was just kind of trying to refine really not try and show off or anything like that. Like the solos on it are very like what I would say like they fit the song, and like
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing in there that's supposed to be like wow that's amazing kind of thing. It's not supposed to like impress you with a technique or something. It's just like more of a melodic
Yeah,
thing. There's fast
pieces.
runs
Yeah.
and stuff and that this and that. So I was kind of more thinking that like more like the musicality of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also just keeping it very straight. It's like it's pretty much all 4/4.
Mm.
Like, which,
More
uh,
head banging stuff.
which I find that more of a challenge to come up with. Because we've got like 40 years of riffs that have already been done, right? So
Yeah,
it gets more and more difficult to come up with something
yeah.
new, like different kind of thing.
Unique, yeah.
And like this sort of this kind of thing about prog music and like technical music is it's kind of easier to do something different because it's you can kind of just be weird and wacky
Yeah.
and like play odd bars, like make it
Hmm.
kind of complicated, because no one's done that particular set of numbers before or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of easier, I think, to be creative if you want in that sphere. But
Hmm.
with the metal thing, where it's like you're really kind of confined to, like people have got a headbang to this.
Yeah.
You can't mess around with
Yeah, I mean the old
time.
school metal has a very specific different style of songwriting where you have verse choruses and that
Yeah,
type of a thing, pretty
yeah.
straightforward, but you have
It's
to bring
You're writing a
some,
pop song, really. That's
yeah,
really what it is, just with heavy riffs under it.
with heavy riffs, and you have to come up with good melodic hooks and something that people remember right away. Hey,
Yeah,
this is the
and,
riff,
and,
you know?
and that's hard to do. Like people, like I see a lot of like people like dissing like people like Taylor Swift and like things like that. It was like that's really hard to do. Like the songs she writes, where there's this kind of central like, hook.
Yeah.
It's like getting that perfect marriage of like the words and the music and the groove,
Hmm.
all to work together cohesively into like one idea. That's hard.
Hmm. Yeah, that's hard stuff. Yeah, I mean, and you already do hard stuff with Haken, so
Yeah, it's a different type of hard. Yeah, yeah.
so you're pretty used to it. So,
Yes.
regarding the mix process, how much you were involved in the mixing process? Like, you send tracks to Nolly, and he send you revisions, and then, or you
Yeah.
were like in the studio with Nolly doing the stuff together,
No,
or
I wasn't with him at all this time.
yeah.
It was just kind of I kind of try to be a little bit hands off when it comes to that phase because
Mhm.
it's like he knows how heavy music is supposed to sound, right? So it's like
Yeah.
I just give him everything, like all the drums, bass, guitars, vocals. Then yeah, I just say, oh, make this sound heavy. And so I'm not really like too nitpicky or too like micromanagey with things like that. I just kind of let him do it, you know. Then, there might be like five revisions
Hmm.
where it's just like little things like, oh, could that vocal harmony come up a little bit, or
Hmm.
you know, the bass needs to come up or down, whatever. Um, but yeah, it's so with that side of it, I just kind of trust those guys. Like the
Hmm.
mixing and mastering is their profession.
Yeah, I mean they know. I mean I've seen people who are very uh, picky about mixing and all that type of, hey, my this word is not correct, this word is not correct, or
Yeah,
can you tune this up, or so I do like mixing for the people as well, but it's
yeah,
sometimes it's pain, very
yeah.
painful
You
process,
you got to be realistic about it as well.
Yeah.
Like if it was like if you had like a budget of like tens of thousands,
Yeah.
then you can spend time and try lots of different things.
Hmm.
And you might get, oh, I'm going to get this guy to mix the track, and then this other guy, and then we can choose, kind of thing. Like as a solo artist, you don't really have that luxury. You just got to just kind of go for it.
Yeah.
'Cause you got
I-
your budget isn't like
Yeah.
what a band would have, or it's like a
Yeah, and plus all the musician involved in your record is kind of professional. So
yeah,
they are already professional. They know their stuff. They record properly, everything. So mixing process becomes much easier. You already
yeah,
have everything kind of set
exactly.
up.
Yeah, like yeah, he doesn't like nothing really has to be fixed or
Yeah. And
yeah,
what I learned, like after doing a lot of songwriting and stuff, it's like how well you record your tracks and what are your ebbs and flows in the music, right? So where
yeah,
should be you should write like a good lead guitar part and other guitars down.
yeah,
Back in a day, I used to write like same guitar lines, right, repeating like 10, 50 tracks.
yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah,
now it's about learning when to cut and when not to cut. So
yeah, yeah, and
so
there are moments like that on this record where it's like I've got it's mostly just a guitar riff, just one guitar, double tracked, but
yeah.
it's but yeah, from that point of view, it was pretty quick to record it because it was just
Hmm.
riffs and then like had to do the solos and then there's a few sections of like layered guitar harmonies,
Hmm.
like the kind of Maiden kind of thing.
Yeah, that type of thing. So thanks, Charlie, for your time. And we wish you good luck for the next record. So, Gods of Pangaea is from Charlie Griffith. Tiktaalika is coming out March 14th. And keep check out. And Charlie, any last words for your fans?
Well, I hope you get to check it out, listen to it, and yeah, share it with your friends and your enemies.
So are you planning to tour with it or no? And
Well, I'm kind of I always kind of thought it would just be like a studio thing,
okay.
but now like with this album, these songs kind of I think more lend themselves to be played live.
Hmm.
I'm kind of visualizing that more and thinking how would I do it. So no plans, but I think one day I will do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, we're looking forward to your next record, and like I said, I enjoyed the first one, so and this one looks like another good one coming.
thank you,
So
mate. Thank you.
yeah, thanks, Charlie. Good talking to you.
You too. Thanks for having me.